Welcome everyone back to Spoiler Warning, featuring myself, Tom Colohue. We're currently live on both YouTube and on TikTok. Please let me know if there are any issues and we can start diving in, because today we're going to focus on something very particular. Today we're going to be focusing primarily on WrestleMania. There's a big WrestleMania coming, as there is a big WrestleMania coming every single year. I want to talk about the card, and I want to talk in depth about everything that we're expecting to see. There is a lot of matches that you might expect. We're going to have an update on the situation with The Rock, what plans are for Roman Reigns, the return of Becky Lynch, the potential return of Alexa Bliss as well, and we're going to be diving into plenty more. Our headlines also include talk about the WrestleVotes report on Finn Balor. We're going to be talking about Hulk Hogan trying to convince the WWE to make use of him. We're going to talk AEW World's End and the planned main event for that, as well as Bayley as a locker room leader, the response to the segment from the New Day, and the Motor City Machine Gun. So plenty to cover in depth. Welcome Jess to the show. Quite a few names already jumping in on the TikTok side. We are live on both. So we're going to dive straight into it. I'm going to go through the matches that are being pitched, or the matches that have been confirmed already to me for next year's WrestleMania. And then from there, I'm going to start diving into the why, the where, and the how do. So please make sure to say hi in the chat. Let me know you're watching, and I'll be sure to say hi back. And of course, be sure to hit that like button. It does make a massive difference to the growth of the channel and really does help us to sort of find our people. So if you're able to, please remember to do so. We have on the TikTok side gone up a league. I don't know what that means, but we have gone up a league. And from best I can tell, the higher up in the leagues you are, the more expensive things are for people to support it. However, the more people you're going to find. And ultimately, I'm not necessarily here to make money on the TikTok side. I'm not necessarily here to make money on the YouTube side either. I'm here to grow. I'm here to find people. So please do continue to spread the word. And a huge welcome to everyone on the YouTube side as well. Chris, Everton, Ricky, Sid, Liam, Kieran, Ishi, Erin, Bailey, Marcel, Jon, Kai, Garmac, Michael, Robin, Dave, NS, Sean, Wrestler Fan, Billy Crystal, and Unique Unicorn, as well as, of course, my moderator, Ed, and friend, of course. Welcome, everyone. Proud Dad says, hello, Tom. Hope you're doing well. Looking forward to the news. So let's jump into it. I'm going to go through the matches that have been either pitched or confirmed for WrestleMania already. Then we're going to go into more of a breakdown. So first off, I have to say, apparently the gifts sent in this live hit an all-time high. Magnificent. Thank you very kindly. I have to say the main event planned for next year's WrestleMania is The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. And yes, I know, burying the lead a little bit here, but there is plenty of people who have been reporting that The Rock won't be there, might be there, and will be there. And I mean, each person reporting all of these things. We see this on a pretty consistent basis for years. Dave Meltzer, for example, was reporting that The Rock would be at WrestleMania around September time. Around November time, he'd report that The Rock wouldn't be at WrestleMania, and that would be headline news both times, despite being massively contradictory. The main event planned for next year's WrestleMania is The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. At time of live, they are also planning Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. I've mentioned this on Spoiler Warning for a few months now, and I know it's ruffled some feathers, but to my knowledge, that remains the plan. Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa. Roman wants to put Solo Sikoa over in a big way, and this is the way to do it. There is talk of Gunther versus Drew McIntyre, but there is also, as you've seen reported, talk of Gunther versus John Cena. Both matches are potentially on the table. Personally, I do think there'll be a different opponent for John Cena, but we could potentially see John Cena versus Cody Rhodes if they do want to stick to Gunther versus Drew McIntyre and The Rock is not available. Then I'm hearing Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley. I've heard all different combinations of this one, as the WWE have been increasingly confident that Becky Lynch is returning to the company sooner rather than later. There's talk of Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair. Particularly, that was the plan when the two were paired up for the tag team that they have been and won several championships with since. The plan was essentially right after last year's WrestleMania, Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair a year in advance. We were also planning a year in advance Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton. There is some feel that while Kevin Owens has had big WrestleMania moments, he hasn't come out of them at times with compelling storylines afterwards. Certainly since winning the tag team championships at WrestleMania, that almost immediately was forgotten about, and I can't even tell you what he did last year. I wish I could. Genuinely, I would like to know. I forgot. Please do help me. We are also a year out planning, in fact started November last year, so more than a year ago, Seth Rollins versus CM Punk. This was going to be for the World Heavyweight Championship, but the injuries, first to Seth Rollins, second to CM Punk, kind of ruined that before it could get started. But the WWE are bringing it back around, so you can still expect to see CM Punk versus Seth Rollins at this year's upcoming WrestleMania. There are all sorts of different combinations being pitched for the Women's WWE Championship. This is a difficult one. The one I've heard the most about is Tiffany Stratton as champion, defending against a returning and resurgent Charlotte Flair. But the WWE are confident they can also find a route for Nia Jax and Bayley to be involved here. I'm kind of expecting either a Fatal 4-Way or a Fatal 4-Way elimination in which Bayley is eliminated first. Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax versus Bayley versus Charlotte Flair as 4 storylines all combine, interject and argue. There is talk of Bayley and Charlotte Flair briefly as a tag team. I'll be interested to see if that one happens, but it's a difficult one to really read. I am still expecting Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton as a singles feud. I just think a Fatal 4-Way is a way of protecting Charlotte Flair in the meantime as well. Thank you very much, Proud Dad, for sharing the stream on TikTok. I do not know how that works, to be completely honest with you, but I very much appreciate anyone who's hitting like, anyone who is sharing, anyone who is getting the word out. 1.6 thousand likes on TikTok already cannot be sniffed at. 3 people in my team. I don't know what my team is, but I've got 3 people in it, and I consider that a victory, so thank you very kindly. On the YouTube side, we have 74 people already, 31 likes. If you can, please hit that thumbs up. News on Alexa Bliss right now. The WWE are confident that Alexa Bliss will be back well in time for WrestleMania. A number of different match pitches have been put across, but the one that has by far the most momentum is Alexa Bliss facing Nikki Cross of the Wyatt 6. Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross. So just to run through. The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. Roman Reigns versus Solo Sikoa, both brand new matches. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre, or Gunther versus John Cena, the second would be a brand new match. Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan versus Rhea Ripley, which would not be brand new, but would be a new combination of the 3 of them. There has been lots of individual singles matches there. Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair, which would again be a brand new one. Kevin Owens versus Randy Orton, which we certainly haven't seen in a long time. Seth Rollins versus CM Punk, which was something they were trying to get last year, but were not able to do so. We also then see Tiffany Stratton versus Nia Jax versus Bayley versus Charlotte Flair. There'll be lots of repeats in individual singles matches, but the 4-way combination plays out differently. And Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross, a match we've seen, but certainly not in these incarnations. We're going to dive into more detail, starting with The Rock versus Cody Rhodes, but I just want to catch up with the chat first. Jess says, basically, the team thing is you pay 1 coin to join, then you level up by watch time and comments. Proud Dad says, 3 people in a team already halfway to a trios match. I absolutely do not complain there. I'd imagine coins cost money, so thank you very kindly for anyone who's willing to do so. Jess says, gifts, etc. I guess is to show that your viewers are active and engaged. The fact that you're here is enough for me personally, and I appreciate all of you for doing so. On the YouTube side, welcome Juan, welcome Calvin. Blue says, the buzz for The Rock, will he, won't he, when they actually look like they're setting him up being there is very funny to me. I agree with that one. It's almost like the WWE have been teasing them for years. Anonymous says, do you think WWE will sign Zilla? I do. I don't know they're there yet, but I do think that will eventually happen. Bailey says, if Jade Cargill returns to tell that it was Bianca that took her out, the feud writes itself. Very true, though there is obviously some natural teasers that Naomi may be involved in that as well. Billy says Owens and Randy became friends and then they became enemies. Backwards says Logan Paul versus Randy versus Kevin Owens US title last year. Very true and very worth mentioning. Blue says Kevin and Sami beat the Bloodline in Saudi Arabia, then had a hockey fight with Judgment Day. I appreciate it. I appreciate the catch-up, guys. I was definitely struggling and you got me. Rosar says any talk of Charlotte versus Bianca feels like was going to happen at WrestleMania 40 before the injury. It was. That was the original plan for WrestleMania 40. Charlotte Flair versus Bianca Belair in a non-title match. Bianca Belair was expected to win and Charlotte Flair was actually encouraging the WWE to make that happen. Ishii says they're not putting Y6 on the card. I have just mentioned Alexa Bliss versus Nikki Cross. So far, that's all I've heard. Joe says, hey Tom, how are you doing today? Doing well, thank you, Joe. Welcome to the show. David says these matches might not happen. We don't know if anyone gets injured or unsavable for other reasons than injury. Very true. This is a long way out, and I appreciate you for jumping in on that, David, because I should clarify and just give some disclaimers here. This is a long way out. This is not around the corner. This is not anything that's immediate. This, unfortunately, is some of the plans that happened this time last year, some of the plans that happened right after WrestleMania, and a lot of the planning since. There is still plenty of time for things to change, but this is what I'm hearing at this point in time. Blue says, would they really do 2 multi-person matches for both women's world titles? Unfortunately, I kind of suspect so, yes. Sid says, who would be face and heel? Charlotte Flair versus Tiffany Stratton. Charlotte Flair would come in face, Tiffany Stratton would come in heel. Welcome, Lever Mike. Sean says, this is from PWN Reports. Becky and Charlotte are working on what's next for them creative-wise. There's a possible shift in the man character for Becky as she's wanted to move on from the man. Well, Charlotte and Becky are not working on their characters going forwards. In fact, I can confirm at this point that they've not been directly involved in their creative because they've not actually been there in order to be involved. So I can say that is simply incorrect. NS Mommy says, hit the like button to show your support. Thank you, NS. Appreciate you. And Sean says, I'd like to see Alexa on SmackDown away from the Wired 6. The other Mike is hoping The Rock drops out. Proud Dad says, what are your feelings on the New Day heel turn? Any plans for Big E to follow it up? Yes, there are. We do have more on that shortly. That is a piece of news we will be covering a little bit later in the show. Shah Game says, happy Friday, Tom. Happy Friday to you. Do you think there'll be a Mania match for a certain upcoming superstar named after a geometric shape? Pentagon. I did report on Monday's show that the WWE are hoping to get Pentagon Jr. involved sooner rather than later. It is possible he'll appear at the Royal Rumble. And funnily enough, I did see that particular report claimed by others who then pretended that it was theirs. Hi, Christoph. Nice to see you, mate. You're on blast now, and I'll continue to do so. People always tell me, people always show me. You ain't getting away from this one. Anyone who follows the Pro Wrestling Informer, they are lying to you. They are outright lying to you. A lie via misrepresentation is still a lie. Follow Tom Colohue if you want the news and stick around. Liam says, what about Finn versus Damian Priest? Still a plan to my knowledge, but momentum for it seems to have basically died. So I'm waiting to hear more. Jado says, Rock might not make it to WrestleMania. We do have an update on that in a moment. Calvin says, what do you think is going on with Giovanni Vinci and A-Town Down Under? Nothing. I think, unfortunately, the momentum for them just does not exist. Wrestler fan says, Jade actually injured and missing Mania? Yes, no. Backwards says, do you see Kevin Owens becoming a WWE World Champion again before he retires? Yes, I do. Though I do feel he's going to be near the top, but largely in the mid-card. It's unfortunate, but likely. Proud Dad says, any chance of Penta showing up at Deadline tomorrow? There is a chance, though it's very unlikely at this point in time. Billy, I will be covering the New Day segment shortly. Juan says, according to Meltzer, AEW trademarked free max terms. Do you believe the max deal can help AEW since their past rating is 586,000, which also Meltzer believes 2024 has been AEW's worst year ratings-wise. It has been AEW's worst year ratings-wise. That's not really in contestation. It very much has been their worst year ratings-wise. What I will say is any new deal, TV or otherwise, will definitely help them grow. Mary says, hey Tom, hope you're good. You know, I don't know why they keep bringing up The Rock. Do you feel like having The Rock there is necessary for Mania this year? No, I don't think The Rock is necessary. They can put on a great show without him. That said, he definitely brings different eyes. Not new eyes, different eyes. Joe Pierce says, hey Tom, just joining, hope I didn't miss much. Welcome Joe, we've just gone over the WrestleMania card, we will be going over it in more detail as soon as I've caught up with the chat. Thank you very much Jess for keeping those likes going. We've now reached 3,600, which apparently makes us popular. Not a bad place to be, not a bad place to be. NS says, I think they're having many plans in case of an injury, just like if The Rock cannot attend. Very true. So it says, what matches would you like to see WWE versus TNA? I would like to see big name TNA wrestlers wrestle small name WWE wrestlers. Lots of Joe Hendry, basically. Joe Hendry, Kevin Owens would be a lot of fun. Sean says, do you see Becky with other superstars meeting the Netflix executives at the Netflix headquarters? Yep, she is still observing several commitments that she has made. She is planned to be at the first Raw on Netflix. Blue says, one of the reasons I suspect her might get a bigger name as women's US title is to have another major women's singles match for Mania. Jade Cargill versus Bianca Belair would certainly be good for a mid-card championship. Calvin says, do you think a Bloodline member attacked Eddie Thorpe? I think it's possible, but I think it's unlikely. NS wants Dom versus Rhea. Liam says, will Big E be medically cleared? We do have an update on that shortly. Ichi says, a Wyatt 6 winning next week, or will it end in a DQ? I don't have the match results for matches that haven't happened yet. Backwards says, I feel like you're the only wrestling journalist who's honest and trustworthy. I try my best. I take that as a great compliment. Backwards, I take that as a very good compliment. Certainly I do try to ensure that's the case, but nobody's infallible. We do the best we can. I will have news, BritRest news, certainly, at some point soon, that you guys may quite enjoy. Wrestler fan says, no Roman at Saturday night's main event. Not to my knowledge. He is expected to take a little time off. Sean says, do you still think Julia dethrones Roxanne or someone else? I'm leaning towards Stephanie Vaca, I really am. Sid says, I got an email saying WWE Network has been cancelled. They won't take any more money. Yep. Because there's no more PLEs. There's technically no more reason for it. So the WWE did right. Juan says, Nick Khan also confirmed your report that Netflix Raw will be PG friendly. Meanwhile, Triple H was trying to sell us that Raw Netflix will be better than the Attitude Era. Yeah, Nick Khan tends to confirm more reports of mine than Triple H, though Triple H has confirmed a lot of the big ones. Jess says, how do people backstage feel about Sonya Deville? She was tweeting and deleting a lot yesterday. She was getting a buzz going. People are big fans of Sonya Deville backstage. She certainly doesn't have the momentum that she once did, but conversations are ongoing involving Bayley, which I'll discuss later. Sid says, the YouTube stream is going perfect. Thank you, Sid. And Liam says, Saturday Night Main Event is live on YouTube in the UK. For all that don't know, it starts at 1 a.m. Might see if I can do a sidecast. I won't, it's at 1 a.m. Blue says, Tom, you brought up Bianca versus Jade for the US title. This is what they were going to set up with the tournament. Do you know if that was the case and the injury changed that? I don't know if that's the case. As I say, I was not immediately aware of the mid-card championships debuting when they did. So I'm not going to pretend that I knew this was coming. What I will say is that Jade versus Bianca has been planned for a very long time. They may now have chosen to pivot. Certainly a lot of momentum is behind Naomi. But if there's a championship potential there, I personally would go for that one. 39 likes on YouTube, one more gets us to 40. Let's keep that going. We also have 5 people live in the TikTok, which is pretty good considering how recently we started it. Thank you to everyone who's hit like 4,300 already. Welcome Irish, watching that pig. Blue says Raw can be better than the Attitude Era and be PG. I'd argue it has been for at least a year. Sean says Triple H also said Pat McAfee's coming back full time when Raw goes to Netflix. What do you think happens to Wade and Joe? I think potentially Wade goes elsewhere. Proud Dad says, personally, I'd like to see Big E be a manager to bring up a new team to go against the New Day. I don't think he'd be willing to go against his friends. Sid says, would Netflix WWE get adverts or WWE adverts like NXT do on WWE Network? It depends. Netflix want to make money from this. I expect there will be ads, but there'll also be an ad-free tier. That's personally what I'm expecting. So to expand on what I've already said, The Rock versus Cody Rhodes. There's plenty of reporting right now that The Rock will not be at WrestleMania. There's also, for months, been reporting that The Rock will be at WrestleMania from the same people. The same people reporting that he will and won't be at WrestleMania. So first and foremost, I want to say thanks to Fightful. Fightful recently followed me on Blue Sky. I did not see that one coming. I want to thank Fightful for confirming my reporting on The Rock's Bad Blood appearance. I reported 2 months ago that the WWE did not plan to feature The Rock at Bad Blood, but he was available, he was local, and they decided it was worth it. It wasn't to further a storyline, they just decided it was a good pop. So thank you, Fightful. Liam says, hello, Tom, watching from YouTube and TikTok. Thank you, Liam. If you can, please do consider dropping into both, particularly if you haven't joined on the TikTok side. It does help if you're a TikTok viewer. And Ed sends a fluffy penguin gift. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate you for that. Thank you very kindly. I don't know how the gifts work. I don't necessarily want you spending money on me, but I very much appreciate it that you are sending gifts. It's very nice, and it does really help us to grow and find new tiers and find new people and be more popular on the For You page. Jess sending a relaxed goose as well, which is on my head. It's on my head. Why is it on my head? What just happened? I don't understand TikTok. I just had a goose on my head. For those that don't know, I'm afraid of geese. One pulled a gun on me once. Well, Ed's upset he's not number one anymore. Ed getting competitive. Oh, welcome Erin as well. Thank you. Yeah, so The Rock. The Rock. To my knowledge, The Rock versus Cody Rhodes is still the plan for the main event of WrestleMania. Cody Rhodes wants it, The Rock wants it, and The Rock basically set it up well before last year's WrestleMania. The motion is carried, the motion has not been denied. To my knowledge, The Rock will be at WrestleMania, and the WWE have already invited The Rock to the first Raw on Netflix when this storyline will likely kick off. Keep an eye on that one because I'm waiting for it to get going, and to be fair, we're only a month away now from seemingly the return of The Rock, the return of Becky Lynch, potentially the return of Alexa Bliss, the arrival of Pentagon Jr. It's a good time. Proud Dad says the goose had a great temporary home. Liam says The Rock and Cody filmed something at the premiere of Moana 3 that I believe is from Fightful, or at least Fightful select their paywall. Oh, gonna catch up. Daniel says, yo, welcome Daniel. Blue says, I'd expect Raw to air with ads either way, as the NFL games will be, as will the NFL games on Netflix. It's why they got them. Mary says, Tom, what do you think of Karrion Kross and his tweets about the Wyatt Six? Seems to be winning in the getting in their heads department. Karrion Kross is showing what he can do. He's engaging on Twitter, he's finding fans, he's connecting with people, and it's really helping to build that storyline. I give him immense credit, and I give immense credit to everyone working with him. He's really found a way to get the attention he's looking for, and that's going to help him long term as well. Backward says, I was attacked by a goose when I was a toddler. Now I'm scared for life. Canadian geese are the real deal. NS says, Joe posted a picture of Kross with his eyes crossed out. Seems like there's a side feud going on alongside Kross fighting the Y6. That will be an interesting match for WrestleMania. By Joe, do you mean Samoa Joe? Bailey says, do you see any elements of the presentation for on Netflix being changed or improved from what is currently seen? I do potentially see the camera quality increasing. That says, big up Tom, do we get any Bloodline tonight? Also, could Seth versus Punk happen before Mania? Could happen before Mania, is still planned for Mania. Liam says they never wanted Karrion, they wanted The Miz. Do you expect Finn to have a run of a world title? More on that shortly. Ricky says, I thought The Rock could not make it, Tom. I heard rumours on that. You will undoubtedly have also heard rumours that he could, that he would, that he might, that he wouldn't, that he may, that he definitely would, and that he's okay, but considering possibly running for president. The Rock Insider News is an absolute minefield. Almost everyone who's reported that he won't be there in the same report also reported that he would be there and then somehow got backlinked for it. What the hell? What the hell? Calvin says, any plans for Saturday Night Main Event in January that you've heard about? There are rumours of one a week before Royal Rumble. And it says, I'm in Canada, don't go after the geese. They go after me. Proud Dad says, do you see the Uncle Howdy character changing? We've seen more of Bo in promos. No, we saw Bo Dallas the entire time. The entire time. Rizal says, I'm personally over The Rock inserting himself when WrestleMania rolls around. I'd rather see the current roster continue the stories they're telling. Randy versus Cody would be great, but Rock gotta come back, I guess. One says, here in the United States, TikTok might be banned. Tom, heads up in case you lose some viewers. Source ABC. I am keeping an eye on that one. If I do lose viewers there, we are, of course, dual streaming. We are live on both TikTok and YouTube, so it may be worth signing up to both. Make sure you are subscribed on YouTube. Make sure you are following on Blue Sky, and make sure you are followed on TikTok as well. There is still plenty of news and information you're going to get there, so I do suggest it is worth your time to check out. Gotcha, NS. Gotcha. Backwards says, seems you're worldwide. Yep, I get a lot of views from India. Gunther's new deal has not been signed. Gunther has not signed a new contract. There is currently active negotiations ongoing. The WWE do not want to finalise their WrestleMania plans until they have 100% finalised Gunther's deal. If, for example, it becomes a negotiating point that Gunther wants to retain his championship at WrestleMania, then John Cena seems the perfect person to lose to him. If instead the plan is for Gunther to lose the championship at WrestleMania, then Drew McIntyre is ready, willing and able. And I do suspect that it really does come down to that. What the match is going to be will likely come down to the negotiating tactics of their current world heavyweight champion, who, to be clear, knows his worth. So I'm interested to see, as more news comes out about this, what he's able to negotiate for his new contract. Right. Briefly, I want to take the opportunity to point out how these shows work at the moment. I see what you're saying, Liam. How these shows work at the moment, I am dual streaming, as I've just mentioned, but we are also looking at diversifying our platforms. We did, at the start, focus almost entirely on Twitter. We grew to a level of about 10,000 people on Twitter, and we used that in order to ensure that we had a strong growth on YouTube and a strong growth on Twitch, which is what got us started in 2021 doing exactly this, making a little bit of money. Not enough in any way, shape or form to be full-time. We're about 10% there, but still a little bit of money, and I thank you all for your generosity. At the moment, we're trying to diversify. You will notice that unfortunately right now we're not live on Twitch. That is primarily because of issues that Twitch seems to be having with paying people. Just a little bit awkward. And also the fact that, to be blunt, I haven't grown on Twitch for about 2 years. For about 2 years, I haven't grown on Twitch. I've grown everywhere else. So my focus right now, YouTube is still home, but I want to grow TikTok as a backup option and as its own thing. I want to start creating unique content for TikTok that people will enjoy. And then YouTube will be the home of both lives and a new long-form video segment that will be there'll be more information about shortly, that I hope people very much enjoy. Hopefully it's something people really get behind, and I'm trying to make something that will entertain you and that you'll like. When it comes to the Twitter, we're abandoning the damn thing. So if you're primarily here from Twitter, I suggest that you pop over to Blue Sky and follow there, where we're approaching our first 1,000 followers. That 1,000 followers in a couple of weeks was much faster than I was able to achieve on Twitter, much faster than I was able to achieve on YouTube, and I'm nowhere near having achieved that on TikTok. So Blue Sky will be sort of where we operate, where I share news in print, and where I give you updates on what's going to be happening going forwards. YouTube will be the primary home of long-form content. TikTok will be the home of short-form content, and hopefully you're signed up to all of those. You find out which or multiple work for you, and you decide to follow there. Yes, as Bailey quite rightly points out, I'm no longer interested in anything Elon Musk is doing. I'm just not. I want a platform that works for me and works for the people that I want to connect with. Michael, I completely understand. Absolutely right. Please do so. I appreciate you being so forthright about it and just making it clear. I support your right to do that. Absolutely. Please do. I recommend it. Unfortunately, right now, it does come down. I was intending to keep going with it. There were some issues when it comes to payments and the like, so I haven't been paid there anyway. And there have also been issues when it comes to my streaming software and the multi-streaming element to it. So yeah, Michael, I completely understand what you're saying and I support it. Sid says, Matt Riddle is in a tag team with Dirty Tom Lawler called Dirty Bros. Ew. Corey says, any updates on the Lucha Bros? Well, if you aren't watching on Monday, Corey, you might be interested to find out that there's talk of Pentagon Jr. being in the Royal Rumble. Ishii says, do you see Uncle Howdy going dark like a demonic Howdy like the Fiend? Nope. NS, we haven't got 35 likes with them on 46 likes. 4 more likes gets us to 50, so that would be very cool. Backwards says that's going to be a very interesting negotiation. Shah Game says, do you predict that Gunther will ultimately re-sign? Yeah, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to re-sign. It depends what he's going to get. Rickan says, do you see Penta debuting on SmackDown, Raw or Royal Rumble? Personally, I debut him at the Royal Rumble. Mary says, Kevin Owens is being added to a new WWE show along with Stone Cold Steve Austin and some other legends promoting new wrestlers, I believe. Mary, what's your source for that? Yeah, pretty much, Blue. Pretty much. I've grown everywhere else. Everywhere else I've grown. I'm a grower. Ed says, I've heard from some guy, Christoph, that they are signing Penta back for the Rumble. Yeah. What the hell? What the hell? Alexa Bliss Gamer says, howdy everyone. Howdy. Corey says, Blue Sky's okay, just tired of hearing about audiobooks and seeing pictures of people's cats. As you like and engage in more wrestling content, your Discover feed will fill up with more wrestling content. It's still in its infancy, but it needs a bit more input than Twitter does, but that's to make sure that it doesn't just give you one thing constantly. Interesting, Liam. Going for it. Appreciate it. Mary says, do you think we could get a Drew versus Roman again? Yeah. Eventually, sure. Corey says, KO and Sammy still not re-signed. Any worries about them or AJ? No. None at all. I'm actually pretty confident that Sami Zayn already has re-signed. I've just not been able to confirm it. Spartan says, Sup Tom, how are you doing today? Hope housework is well. Slowly but surely it's coming together, yeah? Any news on Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens contract details? No update, though, beyond what WWE have said to me, that they're confident and they believe that there will be no issues whatsoever in getting these signings over the line. What I will say, as I've said there, I do think Sami Zayn is likely already signed. Kevin Owens might be taking a little longer, but there is no concern. And the WWE believe that even if it comes to a no deal made, they'll be able to work on a handshake deal without AEW snaring some of their best. Corey says, if asked, Billy says, if asked, would you attend a WWE post-show as a media member? If you do have me on Blue Sky, you will have seen me post several pictures of me at WWE events with wrestlers such as Claudio, formerly Cesaro, Nikki Cross, Cedric Alexander, William Regal, and Triple H. Before the pandemic, I was doing that. Thank you, NS. I appreciate that very kindly. Calvin says, Bobby Lashley just did an interview with Chris Van Vliet. He did indeed. Blue says, Blue Sky ain't perfect, but it's been far better for my soul. Blue Sky is in fact still growing as well, to be fair. Backwards says, how do you like the Hurt Syndicate so far in AEW? Exactly what it says in the tin. They're hurting people. They're in syndication. Sid says, will there be any legends in the Rumble? Roman Reigns is supposed to be in it. Jess says, did LA look off during his entrance to sell Shinsuke being in his head, or was he upset about losing? I think it's possible that he's actually injured at the moment. The match itself, relatively brief, and after a potential injury, it does raise a question of how quickly he lost that championship and how surprisingly Shinsuke got that opportunity. So I'll be interested to see if maybe he's injured and we start to hear about that in the days to come. Entertainment says, it's funny that anytime you say Alexa, my Amazon Alexa turns on saying I don't understand what you're saying. Alexa, Lexi. Alexa, play the Turtles theme tune. WrestleVotes have reported that a singles push is coming for Finn Balor. This has been promised as part of his latest contract, but it has yet to come to pass, And at the moment, it actually doesn't look likely that Balor will hold a World Heavyweight Championship anytime soon. The most he can seemingly hope for is a mid-card championship like the Intercontinental Championship, and Finn Balor at the moment is nowhere near that. As regards their report that he is a locker room leader, Raw has a locker room leader, and it is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins is undoubtedly the locker room leader of Raw. What I have been told is that Finn Balor shows leadership to several people. The people in Judgment Day are certainly benefiting from working with him. But Seth Rollins is still the guy in charge. Entertainment, I gotta remember that. Jess says, honestly, yeah, I noticed the matches he had on a recent UK tour were very short. Rick says, Solo eliminates Roman from the Rumble. Is that how we get Roman versus Solo at WrestleMania? I suspect as much, yes. Calvin says, pitch for commentary team for Raw and SmackDown, Wade Barrett, Michael Cole, Joe Tessitore and Corey Graves. Okay. Backwards says, was it just me or did LA not seem happy during his match at Survivor Series? Again, I am starting to think he might be injured. Spartan says, I don't know why, but for a while now, YouTube seems to hide your streams and I can't find it unless I manually search for your name and click on channel. That's not good news. That certainly is preventing us from growing. Not great. We'll see what I can do about that. I'll certainly go looking, Spartan. Thank you very much for letting me know. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I'll certainly start looking for it. You have, NS. Welcome. Welcome. We have 8 people watching on TikTok right now, which, considering this is what, our 5th show, that's actually a pretty big number. I know many of you have come over from YouTube. You're helping. You're helping in a big way. You're really giving us a launch pad, and I appreciate it. Works for me, Jess. Whatever works for you. You get the live notification from YouTube. Hello, Millennial Noob. How are you? Hulk Hogan is indeed being considered for Saturday night main event. As I've mentioned previously, Hulk Hogan has been speaking to WWE for quite a while now. Far too long, I might suggest, in the attempt to gain more momentum and, in many ways, capitalize on the momentum of his appearances during the Republican National Convention. Yeah, because he was really boosting Trump and Trump won, Hulk Hogan wants to make sure he's on WWE TV to capitalize on that, because Hulk Hogan is going political. Thank you very much, Ed, for the ice cream cone. Another gift, another very generous one. Thank you kindly. Proud Dad says, what are your thoughts on the women's IC and US tournaments? Who do you see winning? Difficult one. I do think Bayley is in a great position to claim one of those championships, but I don't necessarily think she'd want it if someone else could have it. Certainly I've mentioned Bianca Belair earlier as well. Jess says, taking credit for someone winning an election is so Hogan. Yeah, and that's exactly what he did. Also, he ripped the wrong t-shirt. Shark Game says, was the Jacob Fatu injury in War Games the kayfabe one? Yes, it was. Rickan says, does Seth vs Punk main event night 1? Difficult. They were planning to have the main event night 1 this year, though of course the original plan for night 1 main event was Becky Lynch versus Rhea Ripley. Triple H wants a men's and women's main event, so the main event of night 1 would in this instance be Becky versus Liv versus Rhea. He's been trying to get that one for a while. The other Mike says, does it seem like Dom is headed towards a face turn? Yes, it does. Calvin says, Rumble match pitches, Waller eliminates Theory or vice versa, Orton eliminates Cena, Rock eliminates Hogan, Rock eliminates Roman, Goldberg a surprise entry. Ugh. Backwards says Hulk Hogan is trash. I agree. Corey says, let's just leave the memories alone with the Hulkster, please. Spartan says, Tommy, have you heard about the Storm coming in the UK with huge wins? Yes, I have indeed. Storm Dara is here. It is live, and it is hurting me. Liam says, will Saturday night main event be once a month starting from 2025? There is a possibility of it, though I don't think it's a long... Pardon me. Do apologise. Don't think it's a long-term pitch. Razar says, what does Hulk Hogan bring to WWE other than bad publicity at this point? Potentially Donald Trump. Yeah, I said it. On this we disagree, Calvin. I appreciate your opinion regardless. AEW's World's End will feature a 4-way AEW championship match where Jon Moxley is expected to defend his championship against Hangman Page, Jay White and Christian Cage. This is part of the AEW reset that I've previously been reporting on. that the new creative team under Tony Khan have put in place, focusing around more recognisable draws such as Jon Moxley, Chris Jericho and Mercedes Money. AEW's intention here is to get more eyes on fresher talent such as Jay White and Hangman Page, using more experienced talent like Moxley and Christian. I don't find it likely that they're going to be winning the championship anytime soon. Jon Moxley is the focus of AEW right now, but certainly it helps them in a big way to have their feud in serious focus. The new creative team are looking at lots of different multi-man options in order to make this happen. Sid says Rosemary is going after Masha Slamovich's TNA knockout title. Corey says, could this Moxley stuff please end? It seems like it's going to be the focus for a while. Jess says, wouldn't Triple H already have Trump in his pocket about Hogan though? No. Triple H is a Republican, but he's not a Trump Republican. Liam says, can we expect to see you in the Royal Rumble or Elimination Chamber? You absolutely cannot. And Jess says, what's up with the Ryan Nemeth lawsuit? Ryan Nemeth is suing CM Punk. Michael says, I thought there would be a fatal four-way, but I would have expected Orange Cassidy to be in it. I think the intention here is to suggest that Orange Cassidy, when he gets a one-on-one match, will actually win the championship. So I think there may be an injury angle to put Orange Cassidy out for now. No, Spartan, it's literally blackcurrant. I'm old school. I am old school. Blue Hangman is considered fresh talent by the newer creative team who are trying to build around more recognisable stars and former WWE talent. Corey says, I honestly couldn't tell you the last time I watched a full AEW show. All in for me. Calvin says, Rosemary will be another great addition to the Women's Rumble match. I agree. Dimitar says, is Mercedes going to have a match at World's End or does she have New Japan duties? Would like to see her at the Tokyo Dome. To my knowledge, she will be at World's End. I'm not aware of New Japan duties at this point. Well, Trump definitely would pop a rating for a one-off. That doesn't mean it's the right call, but Nick Khan is interested. Proud Dead said it might be hard turning Dom face. Boos are so loud, fans might have trouble changing habits. It depends on the person who turns on him. True, that's exactly what it is, Spartan. Joe says, WrestleTalk courtesy of the Rap reported the WWE LFG show and A&E Legends and Future Greats is the name. Thank you, Joe. Appreciate that sourcing. Corey says, Trump appearing on WWE would just be a circus, not worth the one shot for the ratings. Also, Trump has been asked to appear while they were on Fox and he turned the WWE down. Thank you, NS. Another very generous gift, a TGIF, and it is. It's Friday. It's a weekend coming. And thank you kindly for another gift. And also a brand new record, 8,100 likes. New record for the most amount of concurrent viewers. New record for the most amount of likes. New record for the most amount of gifts. I've got to say, guys, y'all are making it rain. Liam says, are Seth and Punk communicating well backstage, even with the hatred towards each other? Yeah. And Jess says, let's get to 10k. Thank you, Jess. Billy says, a Hogan and Ventura backstage interaction would be interesting. Calvin says, what do you think A-Town Down Under would have to do to regain momentum? Be on TV more, really. Bit of an update as regards Bayley. Now, if you followed on Blue Sky, you'll already be aware of this. Lion leader Bayley, since returning to lead Damage Control, Bayley has taken up the role of locker room leader for the women in WWE. She is said to be setting people right. What the hell is that on my face? She's said to be setting people right when they need to be set right. And also, she stands up for people when they need someone to stand up for them. Many in WWE believe Bayley is their best chance of getting Mercedes Money back in the WWE one day, which is something Triple H is very eager to make happen. I just had an elephant trunk. Thank you, NS, for that. I wasn't ready for it. Also, I had ears. TikTok, it does weird things to my face. I don't know why it does weird things to my face, but it do. Wow. Avi says, we've now seen 2 cash-in teasers in the middle of as many years of War Games matches. Hopefully they follow through with an actual cash-in next year. Be interesting to see one actually pan out. I agree. I was eager to see it happen, and I was excited. Corey, yes, Mercedes does have many years left on her deal. What I will say, firstly, I believe it was a 3-year deal, so only 2 years left. And as I say, many in WWE believe Bayley is their best chance of getting her back. 2 years ain't that long. 2 years is not that long. Thank you, Jess, for a little crown as well. Y'all are getting competitive. Y'all are getting very competitive. Also, we're only 800 likes away from 10,000 over there. Wow. New Day segment. Ed says we need to make a compilation shorts of adding stuff to your body on TikTok side. To be fair, TikTok automatically creates highlights based on when people are most engaged. So like when I get the most gifts and stuff like that, it'll record it for 30, 40 seconds. So I can take that and then post it. So I could literally download all of those onto my phone and create some highlights, create a little highlight reel. That could be fun. That's a good shout, Ed. It's a good shout. You need to be doing stuff like this. You're basically a manager at this point. I would not be where I am without you. Would not be where I am without you. Juan says if Nick can't keep saying no to the Mercedes money name, H won't get his wish. That's the hold-up. Yep, you're absolutely right, Juan. That's, of course, what I've reported as well. Still status quo for now, Corey, yes. No update on Malachi Black, though he is still said to be eager to leave. New Day segment. The WWE were absolutely ecstatic with how the New Day segment went down. They wanted the turn, and they knew it was going to be very difficult to turn fans on Kofi and on Xavier Woods. Many years ago, Xavier Woods said to Vince McMahon, I'm going to turn Kofi Kingston heel, and Vince McMahon said, get the hell out of my office, you're a liar. That, of course, is how the New Day started. Thank you very much for breaking that 10k and then some. That's how the New Day started. So the WWE were aware that it would take something massive in order to turn the New Day all over again. Having them turn on Big E certainly fits that bill. This was a heel turn for the ages. It was a segment which had no violence, purely communication, purely justification, and once again, much like the Drew McIntyres, much like the Bron Breakkers, much like the Kevin Owenses, it's not necessarily obvious that there's a bad guy here. Depending on your point of view, you do kind of get where they're coming from. And that changes things. The WWE were thrilled with the New Day segment. As regards Big E, he is not cleared at this point in time, but unlike many weeks ago, he is believed to finally be confident of a future return, which until quite recently, he was not confident of that. That's very good news for Big E. Liam says, was the pitch to have the New Day pick Odyssey Jones over Big E? There are rumours of that, yes, but the Odyssey Jones story actually hadn't been written that far in advance. Jess says, Kofi being heel feels so crazy. Yes, Kai, I do like lion bars of chocolate, though I do prefer the pink ones because I'm not a big fan of nuts. I'm not really keen on nuts in my mouth. Mary says, Eric Bischoff has been, saying things about AEW failing. What are your thoughts? I think it's a difficult one to really say. Eric Bischoff does know his stuff. The AEW ratings are falling. What I will say is that there are still plenty of areas in which Eric Bischoff is not quite up to date and modern, and I do think some of the complaints that he has are unjustified. Some of them, though, are justified, so I do find his viewpoint interesting. However, I don't find his viewpoint the be-all and end-all that some do. Backward says, I did not see that heel turn coming at all. I loved it. Welcome Erin to the TikTok side as well. Final thing I want to cover. The Motor City Machine Guns versus the Street Profits is set for tonight's SmackDown. PWInsider have also reported that Gunther will be on site for SmackDown. Cody Rhodes is also expected. I'm not sure why Gunther's going to be there, but if we're going to get another Gunther versus Cody Rhodes match for a Saturday night main event, I'd be down in every possible way. Every possible way. Rickan says Eric Bischoff was on an NXT that beat AEW in the ratings. Yeah, but it was also a very low rated NXT. Jess says people have been saying AEW is failing for years, but it still limps on. I don't think it limps. I really don't. I think it had an absolute explosion to start with. They managed to maintain that momentum with one-off moments like the arrival of CM Punk, the arrival of Adam Cole, Bryan Danielson. They were able to keep that momentum going for a long time. Now we're seeing what pretty much a startup company should be doing in numbers. Should be. So we'll see how it goes. Rickon, I'm not sure as regards Johnny Gargano. There is possibility for it, but I don't necessarily think it's going to be going that quickly. We have been live for 50 minutes. I'm going to wrap it up there and say a massive thank you to all of you. As is my typical penchant, I will say that I've been Tom Colohue. You've been fantastic, and I'll see you all very soon.